roll.
Happy Monday, everyone. Surprise, we're back for 3 days in a row, bitches. I'm here with John. As you can see, we're filming this at the same time we filmed the predictions for Money in the Bank. So this is a bit of a time travel thing. And get it, it's Doctor Who themed. Before we get into today's topic, though, I just want to say thank you for...
I was just going to say this is going to be my background for the entire month, so you wouldn't tell. But obviously, we are wearing exactly the same clothes as we did in the predictions. So
And I'll be in a different
we're
background.
we're not a couple of old tramps. So
Yeah.
it's a fair point.
And hopefully I'll be in a different background for tomorrow's review when I go back home. So it will be a bit different. But
whenever you move, because you've got the camera in the bed, whenever you move, it kind of bobs up and down a little bit.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're doing something naughty.
Oh
But
God, no, I'm not like that. I don't roll like that. I don't roll like that. But I just
You
want to
do
say
roll, but not like that.
not like that. But before we get into today's topic, I just want to say thank you for 350 subs on the YouTube channel. Obviously, the
Wow.
YouTube channel is something that we've briefly been incorporating new content into, so it's been a bit of a difference to the podcast. Obviously, the streaming platforms is normally where most of the viewership comes in. So thank you guys who have jumped on the YouTube bandwagon and helped grow that a bit more, because there's gonna be more content coming your way like today, which is a video. Normally John doesn't do regular videos, but I thought I'd tag him in today to discuss some Doctor Who stuff, because I've kind of been out for a week and a half with a bit of an injury and a bit of an illness, so I've kind of been out the loop with what's been going on. So John's going to throw some conversation topics, throw some questions about the upcoming series or series 15 or whatever. So I'm just going to kind of hand over to John and let him say whatever he wants to. Really, this is I'm a bit out of the loop here. This is kind of John's video, so I'm letting John take over.
I mean, 350 subscribers is very good. Do we know who our 350th subscriber is?
No,
are they going to get a prize?
no, you don't. You don't these days. You used to back in the day get notifications. Now that you don't get told unless they make it public. You don't get told every subscriber. So it's a bit dodgy, that, isn't it?
I don't think I'd like it if I didn't know who it was.
Could be Sparky. Is Sparky subscribed?
Sparky doesn't have a YouTube account. He uses mine.
Needs to get on that.
Yeah, he uses mine. Generally, he watches wrestling videos and old episodes of Crime Watch.
Fair enough. Anyway, John, Doctor Who, take it away.
Yeah, I just thought, we haven't chewed the fat about Who for a little while, so I thought it'd be good to sort of swap some ideas, swap some thoughts, have a bit of a conflab, throw some speculation out there, and see what. So, are you? I mean, firstly, are you excited for the 60th specials?
Yes and no. I'm the closer it gets, the more I am. Obviously, we spoke last year when it was kind of the news was breaking, and we had the David Tennant and Catherine Tate stuff, and it was all kind of exciting. Then there was part of me that's like, don't really care. I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. Saw the was it like the Christmas Day one? Didn't think much of it. Saw the new trailer with the titles, like the titles. Yes, I am excited, but I'm more excited about post the 60th. So I'm really excited for the series 14, Shooty Gatwan and Gibson stuff, more than the Tennant and Tate stuff. But yeah, I'd say there's a mild curiosity there with the 60th.
Okay, I mean, I'm not sure. I can't remember where they confirmed it, but I saw somewhere that they said like we're getting about 20 minutes of Shooty in the 60th,
which is crazy.
It's not just going to be like a regeneration and that's it. There's bound to. It sounds almost like there's going to be some bleeding through, or something a bit timey wimey is going to go on somewhere. Which is that's good. I think that's a good way to kind of draw people that might be a bit ambivalent to the 60th, because there are people that are ambivalent to it. Not just people that aren't infused, people that are like actively against Tennant coming back.
Yeah.
For some bizarre reason.
Dumb.
It's just it could draw them in as well. I mean, I'm incredibly excited for it.
I can imagine.
It's like, I think once we get broadcast details as well. Once we know if it's going to be weekly or if it's going to be 3 consecutive nights, when
Yeah.
it's actually going to be shown, I think that's going to. I think that's going to build things up as well. Once we kind of know a bit more what to expect,
Yeah.
that'll draw people in.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm. That's okay. I'll ask you. I know this is your video, but I'm going to ask you a question. Would you prefer weekly, or would you prefer 3 consecutive nights? Because I know there's a little bit of a back and forth. People have different opinions on this.
Personally, I'd want 3 consecutive nights.
Okay.
You'd make a real event out of it, because that's something that broadcasters tend to do these days. If they want to actually make something a big thing, if they want to make it an event, they'll stick it on over 3 consecutive nights.
Did they do that with Luther or something in the last series they did? Or was that the thing? Or was that not Did I make that? Have I made that up?
They've done it with a few things. It's something that ITV are not averse to doing. ITV do it a fair bit. I can't remember if they did it with the last series of Luther. But obviously it's something that they do over Christmas with sort of dramas that they make for Christmas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously in a Doctor Who world perspective, they did it with Torchwood Children of Earth.
Indeed.
They got five consecutive nights of that. So
Yeah.
I think it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think it would be great.
Yeah. I'm going to say 3 weeks, only to make a little bit of content here. I genuinely would be happy with either, but just to give devil's advocate is that one thing I like about Doctor Who is the discussion. Now, I know that me and you and a few others would jump on Zoom straight away after the episode and whatever and discuss and talk about it the day after, but part of the fun is, talking to your mates who may have caught it on iPlayer on the next morning, or that sort of, getting that time to just let it sit for a bit, and look,
You
I'm
just don't want to do 3 podcasts in 3 nights, do you?
that would be killer. That would be killer. Trying to beat Tharis to the upload time. Sat there trying to,
He's done his name drop now. The competition
he's super quick.
Arch nemesis has been named.
You're now right in it. You're now saying different things.
You two, you've met. You get along.
We get along very well. He's very quick at uploading Doctor Who content as soon as it's up there. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
But he's very on the ball with it.
He doesn't have a serious drink habit like you have. So
that is true. That is true. I'd probably be a few beers in by the time it's like by the time the episode stopped and we're filming. I'd probably be a few drinks in. So but yeah, I think the weekly thing would be cool, but again, 3 nights would be nice as well. Like you say, there is that real event feel if you get a 3-nighter. But I think it depends when they do it. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation as well about this Wild Blue Yonder episode, which is apparently we've seen not a lot of, or maybe nothing of. Russell's been a bit quiet and a bit secretive about it. Obviously, there's stuff happening. Apparently, it was all filmed inside, or at least 95% of it was filmed inside. So we literally know nothing. So that leads me to think that episode might come out on the anniversary itself. So that opens the door for special people to appear in it. I know nothing, but that's just my thoughts. But maybe you want to end it or start it on the anniversary. I don't know, but it's interesting that he's opted for episode 2 to potentially be the surprise and fun, cameo filled episode.
I think that makes sense. I think when you've got 3 episodes, I think that's the way to do it. Because obviously, episode 1 is going to be largely 14 getting back with the Temple Nobles and a little bit of what's going on. Episode 3 is going to be obviously building up to 14's regeneration into 15. So yeah, it's that episode in the middle that you've really got time to do that. And yeah, I think the fact that it's been predominantly filmed inside, obviously that's going to lead to speculation of people coming back. We've all got people we'd like to see come back. Hints have been dropped at panels and things about who people would like to work with.
Yeah,
I would personally absolutely adore it if Chris and Billy were back somehow. I don't see exactly how that can happen, because obviously Chris's work in relation to Russell maybe isn't great, but then there've been things before that, you know, say for example, conventions. There've been things before that you would say, well, Christopher Eccleston's never going to do that. And
Yeah,
he's done.
exactly. Money talks, and Disney Plus money talks even more.
Yeah, and
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 that,
and yeah, and I mean, to be fair to him, I think also over the last 5 years since he started doing conventions, I think Chris has actually found a lot more love for the show. You know,
oh yeah,
you hear him do interviews on the Big Finish box sets and things like that, and clearly he's got a lot of respect for Doctor Who.
yeah,
He respects the institution that it's in, and actually he he feels the love from the fans.
oh yeah,
So
totally.
it is possible. I would love it, not only because it's him and Billy, but because just before Christmas, I'm actually seeing Chris in on a Christmas Carol
Lucky bastard.
up in that London.
Up
It
in
would be
London.
great to meet him afterwards and thank him for coming back and being in the 60th. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm seeing I'm seeing Chris and David in the space of in theatre in the space of 5 nights.
Still not met Chris yet, and I've said there's a preconception on this podcast that I'm not a massive fan of his Doctor, which is incorrect. I just potentially I'm not as a big fan as most people my age. 'Cause I didn't start watching at the same time everyone else did, so I kind of went back to Chris. And I appreciate his role definitely. Obviously, you know my picks for the two that I like the would ones about, which is Matt and Karen. Again, probably not likely, but hell, I'll go for it. I'll push for it.
Wouldn't
Um,
wouldn't rule it out.
again, you
I think
can't now.
genuinely wouldn't rule anything out. You know,
And
this is a project that's got Neil Patrick Harris in.
yeah, we
You know, so that they can draw people into it.
of course they can, and I think again, no offense to Arthur Darvill either. If he's in it, absolutely fabulous. I just don't know how much time. Obviously, they're on it's one episode. You can't kind of just cram everyone else in. You know, we don't want these cameos if they are in there to just feel shoehorned in for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I
Bye
think
again. You know,
I'm sure
so,
they have somewhere, but I can't remember. Have they actually confirmed the running time? Have they
no,
confirmed the
but
running time is because
he said
everybody's
3 hours. He
everybody's
said
kind of
3 hours.
assuming that it's going to be 60 minutes.
He said three. Russell said 3 hours of action, so you would assume
Right. So
60, 60,
everybody's
60.
kind of assuming it's 60 minutes each. But yeah, obviously a longer running time would equal more room for cameos.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, I think as well the fact it's linked with Disney now does help with getting the bigger stars in. That's not me being obviously I think the Russell T Davies side of it helps as well, and him being so good at what he does. But you have to look at the fact that Disney Plus does obviously Disney brand gets a lot of people in. They have a lot of contacts, obviously, so I think that will help as well. Again,
And
that's
you
just
know,
that's
the fact that David's back in it is also going to pull people back into
of course it is. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the cameo side of things is fun. I'm more interested to see how they kind of do it all and how they, I really one thing I'm kind of worried about, and again, it's Russell, so I shouldn't be. I know he's going to come up with a really good. Is obviously I quite like Donna's exit. I don't like it. It's really sad, and but I think it's really well done. So I wonder how they're going to get around that potentially. But I'm sure he'll come up with a perfect way to do it. It's just I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they resolve that. It'd be interesting to see how they resolve that.
Yeah,
We've seen from the trailers that it is still an issue. That because there's a bit in the trailer where Sylvia's kind of trying to hide him from Donna, and so we've seen from the trailers that it is a little bit of an issue still. So it will be interesting to see how that resolves.
yeah, absolutely. And you can tell that comedy is already back as well. Taking that and the mick out of him already, and you tell that banter's going to be there as well, and those two are going to kill it. I suppose as well, Beep the Meeps in it. Miriam Margolyes is in it. It's Beep the Meep. Fantastic. Great. Why not? Love that. It's the only bit of Doctor Who filming that I saw for this. I saw nothing, but I was on the road where the Temple Nobles live. So I was on the
Excellent.
road there. So when they were filming, I'm going to assume it was the outside. You know, the shot in the trailer where all the beasts are on the road and the unit. So I assume it's unit are firing. I assume it was that because there's a lot of unit trucks there that day. But obviously it was a night shoot, so they weren't really doing too much. But when I was there, but yeah,
All I want for Christmas is a Beat the Meat plush.
that I mean, I think you're gonna get it. I think the marketing and the figures and all that sort of stuff is gonna go right up. No pun intended.
The figures are going to go right up.
No pun
I
intended.
mean, we cannot tell you why we're laughing, people, but there's a small group of people that will hear Alex say that on this podcast and burst out laughing.
Oh no, I'm in trouble. I don't know why my face looks so red as well, because it isn't in real life. The camera's doing some weird stuff as the lighting gets lower. I'm not sunburnt or anything, but yeah. So I don't know what's happening there. The lighting is screwing up. So don't worry about the color of my face. I'm absolutely fine. But yeah, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Beat the Meat. And obviously, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone that hasn't or doesn't know the resolution of the Star Beast or anything like that. So I think that's also a good story to adapt. It's a fun comic story that some Who fans would know, but a lot of people, I know of it now, but I don't really know much of the story. So I think that's kind of cool thing. Some fans go, "Oh, it's a really interesting story from a few years ago," and people go get excited for that, and that kind of helps the first episode as well.
As long as you don't get people being wankers about it, being like, "Oh no, you're not going to enjoy this unless you've read that." It's fine.
Oh, yeah, because I don't think it's going to be necessary. I don't think it's going to be necessary to do so to read beforehand.
No.
Let's talk about episode 3 then, which people are calling the Toy Maker episode, even though I'm fairly sure he's potentially in all three. But
I like the giggle as a title.
yeah,
I know some people were like, "What?" But I really like that.
yeah. I'm not going to get into titles because last time I spoke about titles on the show, you got annoyed that I like Hell Bent more than Heaven Sent as a title, and I don't really want to get into arguments there, but I still stick by my point.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did say that, and I
I
stick.
get annoyed at so many things just on these podcasts. They
Yeah,
worry.
that is true. That is true. I'll just go randomly, guys. I'll post a podcast which John's not in, and he'll go. It'll be a few days after it's up, but he'll listen to it and he'll at me in the chat and go, "Alex, you said this, you stupid cunt. What the fuck are you on about now?"
My favorite recently was the film review one in which the discussion, Mr. Mamoon said that Oppenheimer was going to bomb.
Didn't even pick up on that should at the time.
Yeah, I know you didn't. I did. I found it hilarious.
But yeah, shall we quickly jump ship then? Because obviously to the Series 14 stuff, because actually we know more about that than we kind of do these 60th specials, which is interesting. I'm saying it now. I'm really excited for this. I know some people are a bit worried because it's only 8 episodes. People are like, why Doctor Who should be 13? I think we're building, guys. We're building to more content. Don't you worry. This is just a starting block.
Yeah, Doctor Who should be 13. Yeah. That hasn't. You haven't had 13 episodes in a year since 2011.
Yep.
You have not had 13 episodes in a consecutive series since 2010.
Yep. Well, I also have to add as well. Episode count doesn't bother me because as long as you make 8 really good episodes, then I'd rather that than 13 episodes, 5 of which I don't really care for.
Yeah, exactly. It's people talk like we used to get like 13 quality episodes in one series. No, even series 5 didn't do that. Even series 5 had the bloody Lodger.
I don't mind the Lodger. That's not one I'd pick. But the Lodger's one that I actually don't mind that much. I know it's got Corden in it, but I think there are some funny moments in it. I hate to say that because I'm not
but
a
it's
James
not
Corden.
top tier Who, is it?
No, it's not. Of course, it's not. But yeah, Series 14, Shoot Gatwell, Millie Gibson. Oh, I can't wait for this. I can't wait. So obviously, because I've been in Cardiff as well, missed meeting him, gutted. Absolutely, those days where everyone got their photos in onto it, meant to be there. This thing that I took, I'm home for a bit early, stopped me from doing so, which I'm gutted about because I'm so happy for everyone else that's met him as well. And he seems to do fantastic and really embracing the fans, which I had no doubt he would do. So, I think it's great, and I think the fact that we know a lot. First of all, shall we just get into the new news? Which I kind of knew beforehand because she let it slip back at Comic-Con, that Mel Bush is back. Yeah. I can tell the story now because I won't really get in trouble. I went to go meet lovely Bonnie at Comic-Con Winter at LCC before I met her at Galley. And she was like, "Oh, you guys live in Cardiff?" Because I was with my friend Oshan, who's been on the show before. And she was like, "Oh, yeah, you haven't seen me around, have you?" And she went, "Oh, so it was either an on purpose slip that she pretended because she's a very good actor, or she genuinely just mistakenly shouldn't have said that she was in Cardiff because it made very obvious that she was in Cardiff to film Doctor Who. So I kind of knew back in
I mean,
November, fans were there.
that could have been a deliberate thing, couldn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She could have done it.
She's still filming there now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I met her.
We literally got pictures of her on a scooter.
Yeah, I met her again at Galley, and she remembered me, and she's like, "You still haven't seen me on Cardiff," and I went, "Nope." But yeah, I think it's great. Not a massive Mel Bush fan, me, only because I don't think she has that many great writing bits. I think Bonnie tries, but I think they just kind of turned her into a screamy woman, and she does get a few good moments. But I think this could be a redemption of Mel Bush. I think Bonnie Langford's brilliant, and I think if she's given good material, which she will be, she could do some really good stuff.
Bonnie's a star. Bonnie's an absolute star. I mean, anybody who doubts Bonnie's ability, go and watch some of the episodes of EastEnders that she was in. She was absolutely fantastic in it. And yeah, I've no doubt that she'll be very well written here, and yeah, she'll win over a whole new audience. I mean, obviously we got little snippets, didn't we? Back at the end of and the Power of the Doctor.
Yes.
But yeah, she's a star.
Yeah, absolutely. A quick thing. I remember when our Paradox to finish. I remember we were all very excited. We all thought it was brilliant, and thankfully, it hasn't just been recency bias. If I watched it like a week ago, back when I couldn't see very well, and it was still just as good then. So at least for me, it still holds up, which is great for a Doctor Who episode because a lot of Doctor Who episodes I watched, I go that wasn't half bad, and then I rewatch it and I go didn't like that as much as I did when I first watched it. Vis-a-vis the Legend of the Sea Devils, but we won't get into that. But just I'm happy that episode has, and I'm happy that Doctor Who has some kind of momentum behind it. We can genuinely say that Russell can capitalize on the quality of Power of the Doctor, which a lot of Doctor Who fans would have laughed at that potentially if you say, "Oh, Russell can build upon the great foundations that was left at our last episode," which I think is brilliant. And I think David coming in for a few bits is nice. I think it's not really for me because I'm not a massive David Tennant 10th Doctor stan, but I can still get enjoyment because David Tennant is one of the best actors to grace television at the minute. So it's not like it's a bad acting choice either way.
And we should add also one of the nicest people.
Oh yeah, tremendous, lovely fella, lovely fella,
a genuinely lovely guy.
Taller than I thought as well. Actually, it's quite. I didn't realize how tall he was.
Yeah.
Really nice guy. I think that's a good option. I think obviously we don't really know much about Ncuti's characterization or anything really. We know that version of the Doctor likes to change the outfit, which again I see people moaning about because Doctor Who fans love a good moan. We'll never, as a collective, we will never just be happy for one day completely.
I don't have a problem with that.
Me neither. Not one at all.
I don't have a problem with that. I think anything God, I get myself cancelled here. Anything that makes life more difficult for cosplayers who are a significant proportion of them are tossers, I'm happy with.
I actually do. I'll join you in this sinking ship. I absolutely agree with you. So no, I'll absolutely.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know some people that are cosplayers that are lovely. You know, genuinely some lovely people. But I ain't naming names. But you and me both know, Alex,
Yep.
that the percentage, you know, there's quite a few wrong uns in the Doctor Who fandom,
And
and
can't disagree.
a higher proportionate percentage of those tends to come from the cosplay community.
Can't
And
disagree.
you know, I know some lovely cosplayers, genuinely amazing people, but
Yep.
there's some wrong ones in there and all.
Yep, absolutely. Also, going back to the figures conversation, they can now release like the 15th Doctor box set, and it can have 8 different versions of that Doctor. Marketing, baby. You know, just saying.
Or you could have like the Shooty Gatwa Barbie, so it's just one figure,
That is true.
but various outfits. Well, I mean, I guess you might need a couple of different heads because like one with a moustache, one with the afro for the 60s episode.
Yep.
You
That
know that it's and yeah the 60 from what we know and what we've seen, the 60s episode is the one that I'm most pumped for at the moment.
I really hope it's a musical. And there's not really anything leaning like obviously there are musical people in it, which helps. But
I think
I hope it is. I
it
love a good
may.
musical episode. I love a good musical episode. I love it.
I'm not sure if it's going to be a musical episode, but I think that
Should
music
be.
will certainly form a part of the story.
It should be though. It's imagine them just breaking out into it'd be brilliant. I'd love it. For
Well,
me,
you want some sort of crossover between Doctor Who and the Richard Curtis film Yesterday,
yeah, something like that
where
would be
like the Doctor's got to
brilliant.
go back in time and save the Beatles. Because I mean, I'd be
J-
up for
j-
that.
can I just say as well, yesterday, right? I know it's not the biopic everyone wanted. I think it's slightly underrated. I don't think it's brilliant by any means, but everyone acts like it's the worst thing to have happened to the Beatles. I thought it was all right. It was all
It's a
right.
very good film. Very good film. I mean, you know, it's in no way a biopic, obviously, but I think it's a very good film. Not my
Absolutely
favorite
agree.
Curtis film, but that will always be about time. But
Yeah.
no, it's a very good film. I everybody knows I absolutely adore the Beatles. It's a love that I got from my mum. Um, and yeah, so watching that was a very emotional film for me. But it's a very good film. Say,
Absolutely.
oh, Doctor Who saving the Beatles, we'd all be here for it. Please make that happen, Russell.
I think that would be great, wouldn't it? I mean, who would you get to play the Beatles?
You know, I get to play the Beatles.
Yeah, because they'd have to appear. Who'd you get? Fan cast the Beatles.
Oh, God, I don't know. Would they have to appear though?
Can Ringo play all of them?
Yeah, no, they wouldn't necessarily have to appear.
Can Ringo play all of them?
You can literally just have like stunt hands and things and a bit of archive footage.
Just get again. I'm
Yeah,
going for
an
Ringo to
episode
play
where the
all of
Doctor
them.
has to save the Beatles without the Beatles in it. I mean,
Yeah,
what I really want them to do actually, and it's maybe a bit dark for them to do it, but I want them to kind of lean into the Paul is dead rumors because you know it's
there is.
this very big weird conspiracy theory amongst Beatle fans that Paul McCartney actually died in the mid 1960s, and the Paul McCartney that we see now is not the original Paul McCartney.
Which I think is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but there's all of these little like if you
Yeah,
like the Abbey Road cover, there's all of this analysis that you get of the Abbey Road cover about, oh well, Paul's eyes are shut as he's crossing the road, and he's the only one that's smoking, and he's barefoot, and he's playing a corpse,
yeah,
because like the whole thing is that it's a priest followed by a corpse, followed by a mourner, followed by a gravedigger.
yeah, absolutely. And it's just weird, isn't it? And there's like if you reverse this song, you can hear some stuff. It's all weird. But for me, the one I'm most excited about is the historical episode with Jonathan Groff in it. Just kind of love Jonathan Groff. I think the outfits look really cool. So yeah, that's obviously when you get promo picks, so you can really go for. Also the finale, which kind of looks like a two-part, and I'm only basing it off the fact they've been filming it for ages.
I think you can kind of expect that. You know, you we even with shorter seasons, I think we've come to expect 2-part finales.
Yeah,
You know, I
absolutely.
mean, okay, they didn't do it in series 11, but we certainly got that in series 12.
Yeah, we don't talk about the series
Flux,
11
Flux,
finale. It
Flux.
never
Well,
happened.
not really, because Flux was just a continuous story anyway, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. The series 11 ended with It Takes You Away, John. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, but it wasn't a two-parter.
Oh, good point.
The Witchfinders didn't lead into. There wasn't a Witchfinders cliffhanger leading
That
into.
that is true. True point.
Yeah, there should
Anyway,
have been. Yeah, there should have been a two-part where like just the entire. There should have been an episode after It Takes You Away where the planet is invaded by frogs on chairs.
do you know what? That I think you've cracked the code there. That's going to be the best episode of all time. Um,
Yeah,
I
just
think you've
frogs on
nailed.
chairs.
Voiced by Sharon D. Clark.
Yeah, there's nothing that woman can't do.
Exactly
You
nothing.
could even have singing frogs. You could have an entire Paul McCartney frog chorus voiced by Chandy Clark.
Yes, that would be fantastic. And on that note, that's where we're going to end this Doctor Who discussion because we can't top that. We just can't. We've done it.
We will just slightly add. Lenny Rush announced for Series
So
14
love it.
disability rep for the win.
Love it. I didn't know who he
Hot
was when he
on
got
the heels of
announced.
Ruth Madeley in the specials and potentially beyond. This is what representation means. This is what's important for people to actually be able to see people like them on our screens.
Don't disagree. I haven't actually seen Lenny in anything. So when he got announced, I went
I've
back
not
and
seen. Everybody's told me to watch the Daisy May Cooper sitcom that he is in. And I do intend to, but I haven't yet. Literally, the only thing that I've seen him in was the BAFTA TV Awards when he collected his award, and he's very charismatic, and I cannot wait to see him in Doctor Who.
absolutely. Well, John, thank you very much for joining me today. Got another video tomorrow, probably. Hopefully, it depends on timing and stuff. But you can follow the podcast at Times Pod on Twitter. On Twitter, Sam does. You follow John on Twitter at John_Cook. You can click the link tree in the description for all of your timeless podcast needs, and you can
Pointing down to people, link.
and you can like, comment, and subscribe on this video because it would mean a lot. But guys, we'll be back soon. Please do take it easy and goodbye.
Good night. God bless. Don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. What you gonna do, brother?